everybody.
Good afternoon.
Hi, afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yep, good afternoon. Good to see you all again here, and good to see you all are punctual. Very good. Remember to sign your attendance, yeah? Okay, well, we still wait for the others. Today we'll continue with brief correspondence, the second part. And after that, we're going to talk about your test next week. Okay? Right? I hope you have gone to Spectrum and seen the upload that Dr. Yo has put up this week, last week, in fact. The test guidelines and the test sample questions. I hope you have looked at the test sample questions and try it out. Anyway, afterwards we will discuss those questions, yeah. But I think doing tests online is not new to you all, right? You would have done your tests or exams last semester online. Am I right? Something that you have done before and you're quite familiar. It's not that you have never done it before. So, but nevertheless, we'll still go through the guidelines, lah. Yeah. Okay, but most important is make sure that your internet connection in your area, wherever you are, or where you hope to take the test, is the connectivity is good lah. It's reliable, yeah. Because you wouldn't want halfway to have your connectivity cut off. And if your connectivity in your area, in your present area, is not very reliable, so make sure you find a place where it's more reliable when to do your test. So like I said, it's not new. I believe it's not new. Doing tests online, you would have done it with your other courses, right? Last semester. That means in year one, in your year one. Okay. Right. All right, let me share screen now. We go straight to today's, we do the input first, we continue with brief correspondence. Today we're going to talk about letter writing. Yeah, letter writing. Yeah, it won't take long. And then after that, we'll do some of your test questions. And also, Dr. Yu has already also uploaded your progress report guidelines, progress report and presentation guidelines. Yeah, so please, we covered that last week. So he has uploaded the PDF version, so please download it and then refer to it lah, right? But for this week, we concentrate on your test because you're doing your test next week. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Anna? Okay. Okay. All right. Right. So we do a bit of review. You can see my slides, last week we covered the first part of brief correspondence. What did we do last week? We looked at remember, correspondence will be one of the first few technical writing that you'll be doing at the workplace. Yeah, in fact, it's the most common, and you are the kind of technical writing that you're most required to do, or that you'll be doing a lot of it, a great deal of it in your workplace in the future. Correspondence. So we talked about memo writing, email writing, and IMS, isn't it? Instant messages. We covered that last week. Yeah, and we said that, I hope you remember that in memo is basically correspondence with people within the organization. Yeah, you don't write memos to people outside your organization. It's mainly within the organization, and usually it's written to peers, colleagues at your level, like to give information or to request for something, yeah, or to give instructions, right? Email, on the other hand, can be written to both people inside and outside your organization. You can all hear me, yeah? Can see the slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so email, inside and outside organization. And although in your textbook, I mentioned last week, textbook, it says that email is the most informal and the most relaxed form of correspondence. But actually, in the business world today, email is getting more and more formal, as in the sense that more and more formal messages are sent through email. Yeah, so keep that in mind. And yeah, so remember, how do we go about writing messages, either through memos or emails. And normally, email, you would write email to your bosses. Although it's in the same organization, somebody superior to you, if you want to send a message or you want to request for something, normally you send an email, not memo. Memo is more for your peers, your colleagues, or your subordinates. Yeah? So if it's to your, as a student to lecturers, it should be an email, not memo, right? Email or even a letter, formal letter. It depends on how formal or how confidential the content is. Yeah. And of course, instant messages, as we said last week, is the most what do you call it? It's almost similar to WhatsApp. It has been replaced by WhatsApp, which is actually a very informal way of communicating, even at work. But and of course, it's used in a very informal way, mainly on mainly in cases where you want the information as quickly as possible or immediately. So it's done in real time. You see, so. And the conversation or the exchanges are very simple and straightforward, 1-line, 2-line exchanges. It's not like email or even memo, right? But as you have seen now, but although instant messages is a little bit more formal than WhatsApp, yeah. And remember, please, all the correspondence that we talk about in this course is business correspondence, business, not personal correspondence, yeah. And okay, with that, we also covered on composing message. Remember last week we looked at two specific approaches to writing your messages, whether for memo or email or even letter. What are the two approaches that we discussed last week? Two different ways of organizing or writing your message. What are the two approaches?
Direct and indirect.
Correct, yes. The direct approach, remember, it's called the 4-point approach because there's 4 points there. IDAC stands for introduction, right? You start with introduction, followed by details and action, call for action, right? What you want your reader to do, your reader would expect that, right? Or what you would want to do as a result of your email or memo. And of course, the close, right? Now, this kind of direct approach is for what you call good news message, good news, or neutral kind of messages, such as messages giving information or requesting for something, making a request or giving instructions. It's not bad news. So it's all considered under the same umbrella, good news. So we use direct message. It's the simplest and most basic. It goes direct, straight to the point. In fact, you can go straight to the point in the introduction itself. Go straight to the point and tell the reader why you are writing this. It's all in the introduction. Yeah. And the other one, however, which we pay special attention to is the bad news message. That one is a little bit different. You have to approach it differently. It's called the indirect approach, right? Specifically for bad news messages. That means any message that give bad news to the reader. Bad news in the sense that probably you have, sorry, we cannot refund you, or we cannot meet your request. We cannot, or sorry, you have failed in your application. Like I said, it's a duka cita letter, but you don't mention the duka cita right in the beginning line, like what most of our, the government letters, I think, when you receive, they just announce it in the beginning. But for English letter writing, a business letter writing in English, we do not give the bad news in the beginning. So that's why we have an extra section in front called the buffer, right? Where where your opening lines remain positive or neutral. Yeah, positive or neutral before you give the bad news. Yeah, before you announce the bad news in the subsequent paragraphs. right? So that's why it's called indirect approach. And this is more of a, well, we can call it a 5-point plan. This is 4-point because the 4 parts is 5.5 parts. And of course, the rest is the same, like introduction. You start with the buffer, then followed by introduction, details, action. And the close must be a positive close, although you're giving the bad news, but the close, make sure that it's a positive close, it's an encouraging close. Because keep in mind that we are doing business correspondence, and in business correspondence, we correspond with people. In business dealings, we do communication and regarding the work that we are doing, regarding work and so on. So like business is regarding, and normally the people that you communicate with will be clients and customers, right? So that's why in your writing, since you're doing technical writing, in your writing communication with them, it has to be, you must always build goodwill, right? Build goodwill and maintain your goodwill. Goodwill means what? Goodwill means what? Sense of, you have to let your reader have a sense of feeling good doing business with you. Yeah. So even if you have something negative to say it in a positive light. Yeah. You don't end up because basically you don't end up offending your reader or making them angry or annoying them, irritating them, right? Like being demanding or being rude or looking down on them, that kind of thing. You want to keep your customers, isn't it? You don't want to lose your customers or clients. You want to make new customers, right? And keep your customers and not lose them to your competitor, right? So you don't want to take the risk of saying something, writing something in your writing that will cause, that will make them unhappy, right? So the correct way in business writing is to maintain goodwill, build goodwill and maintain goodwill. Make friends, not enemies. Yeah. So, very careful. You see, when we speak, we may say something that is may offend someone, but in speaking, it's not as what do you call it, as harmful as when you write something that's offensive and send it to the person, especially with customer or client. It is not as harmful because, writing is worse because it's written in black and white. And what more nowadays with electronic writing, you just click a button, send already, and you cannot retrieve it back. You say, if it's spoken, you can always say, oh, like what politicians always say, I'm always misinterpreted and all those things. But in writing, you cannot claim that because that is in black and white already. So always be very, very, very careful when you write, send messages, send anything in writing, right? First of all, and first and foremost, of course, it must be error-free. Error-free in every sense, even in your spelling, punctuation, grammar, that alone should be error-free, right? And of course, the rest of it, your tone, your style, remember that, tone and style and so on, so must be appropriate, must be suitable. So all this has to be taken into consideration, yeah? And so that's why you must be very careful. So even in your WhatsApp messages, make it a practice to check before you even send. And when things are full of errors, it reflects badly on the writer, isn't it? Right? It's okay if it's between friends, but still also it does have it does reflect on the writer. Even more so, worse so is if it's at work. Yeah, you're doing business. Okay, so we can't stress that. We can't stress that more strongly. That the importance of paying attention to your writing, to your choice of words in writing. So this covers also in letter writing. Okay, so today we continue with letter writing. Of course, letter writing is the most formal form of correspondence. Before that, let's look at the homework first. So we look at the homework first. I've given you homework for memo writing, isn't it? I hope you have done, right? Because I won't be asking you to submit or show anything, but at least you give yourself, you practice writing a memo using the correct approach. Okay. I will go through a few of the questions, the homework questions, and I will show you some past year students' work. Right, we have a look at it and then see. Maybe ask for your comments, how it can be improved and what you can learn from it. Okay, this was one question I think you were asked to do, 1C. write an email requesting information from one of the following types of business. Submit a copy of your email request along with the response to your instructor. This one no need to submit, no need to submit to me. Okay, C is from a resort, special rates for a given week. Yeah, so you are asked to write an email requesting information from a resort. And the purpose of the email is you want to ask for special rates, whether they are to request about special rates for a given week. Okay, this is one example. This is one student's answer from previous year, right? This was what one student submitted. And let's take a look at it. Okay, and then you tell me what you think about it. Give your comments, right? Based on what you have learned so far, right? About memo writing. Okay, look at there's a subject line, right? Request a memo or email writing. It should be email because you're writing outside, right? But there's a subject line requesting information for special rates. Okay, based on the question given. Hi Mayfair Resort. I am Amy Diva from Mode Nationals in Duran Berhad. Our company plans to hold a seminar at your resort from January 8 to 10, 2021. The total number of participants will be 200. My purpose in writing this email to you is to get further information about prices your resort offers. I would like to know if your resort has special promotions for clients like us. It would be great if you can offer us some discount prices. I look forward to your response and to the next news. Thank you. All right. Comments. What do you think of this memo? Email. Good. Anything that you think can be improved on? Did it follow the two different approach? One of the two different approaches mentioned. Let's start with the subject line first. Let's start from the top. Okay, look at the subject line. The student has written requesting information for special rates. Is that okay? Any comments? Anybody here?
Okay.
Okay? Okay, you think it's okay? All right. Is it specific enough? Put yourself in the reader's shoe. Remember, one way of making sure you write effectively is as you write, put yourself in the reader's shoe. Imagine you are Mayfair Resort. I mean, you are the person in Mayfair Resort receiving this email. Is the subject line clear enough? This reader wants information. I mean, this writer wants information for special rates. Anything else? Is it specific enough? Clear enough? Or you need a little bit more information from the subject line? What do you think? Everybody okay?
Special rates about the resort.
Yeah, okay lah. All right, special room rates or whatever lah. Can, yes. Anything else? Anything else? I think it should be, if you look at the, what do you call it, the question, special rates for a given week. Don't you think it should be, some information should be given here, right? To Mayfair Resort, you want to know special rates. What should be added here? Give the
date.
Yeah. The date should be mentioned here. The period when are you asking for information whether there are special rates for that particular period. So it should be good to add on from when to when. Although the dates are given here, can you see that from January 8 to 10, right? So they want to know they are coming at this time. So actually she wants to know whether there are special rates during this time. But it's good to put it in the subject line, right? From January 8 to 10, 2021. So it's very clear. It's not like special rates or when the whole of next year or the whole of next month or during the Christmas season or what. That's supposed to be specific. Don't just special rates. It's too vague, too general. So put the date from when to when. So remember, like you said, people, like we mentioned, people at the workplace are busy people. So they need to know immediately when they read, immediately what you want to know. So what you want to know? You want to know special rate from when? Okay, from this date. So it's very clear. Okay. All right. Good. Next one. I'll look at the salutation here. Hi, Mayfair Resort. Is it okay? Hi or dear is fine. But what should be written here instead of Mayfair Resort? What do you think? Anybody?
The manager.
Yes, that's right. Not just dear manager or hi manager. The managers specifically address the person by name. Find out who don't just write to the organization, hi Mayfair Resort, hi Hilton Hotel, not like that, because you would want someone to attend to your request. So specify who you want to speak, who you want to present this request to, right? So the best thing is in your email itself, address the person in charge by name. Whoever is in charge, it can be the manager, it can be, people who is in charge of who is able to tell you, give you that information, yeah. And to find out, it's best also rather than just dear sir or dear madam, that is also not good enough, right? Because it's again, you want to identify specifically the person that you want to seek this information from, right? So that the person that has been identified will act on it, right? Otherwise, if it's too vague, nobody will act on it, or it will be delayed. Yeah. So to find out the name, very easy. Well, you look up their website, find out whether the manager or the reservation or whoever by name, and address the person by name, dear Mr. So and so, dear Madam So and so. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So this is the email message, and this is the opening line. I am Amy Diva from Mode National. So this will be okay. What approach is it being used here? Is it the direct or indirect approach?
Direct.
Yeah, it should be direct. Yeah, because it's a neutral message, isn't it? It's definitely not bad news, right? So if direct, you use the IDAC, the 4-point plan. So you start with the introduction. Okay, fine. So this is how this writer has titled the introduction by introducing herself. I'm Amy Diva from Mode Nationals in Iran, Berhad. Okay. Our company plans to hold a seminar at your resort. Now, usually in the introduction, after introducing yourself, if you need to introduce yourself, you go straight to the, you see here, she went on to say what she's planning to do. Our company plans to hold a seminar. The total number of participants will be 200. My purpose in writing this email to you, can you see this line? My purpose in writing this email to you, where do you think this line should appear? Is it writing a purpose in the middle of the email? It should go right in the beginning, right in the introduction. After you introduce yourself, state your purpose for writing the email, not somewhere in the middle of the email. Yeah, because it's it makes sense, right? The person who is reading it will want to know, why are you writing to me? The person in Mayfair Resort. So straight away state your purpose. That's what I mean by be straightforward, go straight to the point, right? So don't put your purpose somewhere in the middle of the email and the person has to search for it and want to find out why is she writing to me? What does she want me to do? Straight away state your purpose in the introduction itself. Okay, introduce yourself, then state the purpose, and then you can bring in all your details. Now, our company plans to hold a seminar. The total number of participants will be 200. Right? I would like to know if your resort has special program. Okay, maybe you can add a few more after the details, like what type of room you want, what type of facilities you require. You can add more details here, right? And then when you come to the action, I would like to know if your resort has special promotion. This is the action. It would be great if you can offer us some discount prices. Okay, so it should be then it's very clear. First, you introduce, you state your purpose, then you give your details. Why you want to know the rates are because your company of so many people and what you want Then you want to know whether there are discount prices. That's it. And then the close, of course, is I look forward to your response. And to your next news. This is a bit grammatically wrong. Look forward to your response. Give a deadline. Don't say I look forward. I hope you'll reply soon as possible. Give deadline by a certain date. Give a deadline. Okay, right? So the writer has used this approach, the direct approach. Yeah. Okay, then we go to another question. If you this one also in your write an email with one of the following messages. 2B. 2B is you have just lost a big sale and you have to inform your boss. This is also in your homework. I hope you have done it so then you can compare your answers in the discussion here. You have just lost a big sale and you have to write to inform your boss. What kind of message is this? This will have to be what kind of message? And what? Sorry? What kind of message is this? Definitely not good news message, right? It's a bad news message. If it's a bad news message, what approach do you use? You use the
indirect approach.
Yeah, indirect approach. The 5-point approach. Okay. Okay. Look at this example. This is one answer written by one student for this question. Okay, what do you think? Subject: report on loss of big sales. Dear sir, I, on behalf of the sales team, would like to report to you that we have lost a big sale. My team will collect last month's sales data to compare it with the recent data. I hope the action may help us to see the mistake we are doing. I hope you can give suggestion for improvement. If you need any information regarding this month's big sale, feel free to contact me. All right. So, comments?
It doesn't have a buffer.
That's right, no buffer. You see, immediately first line, I, on behalf of the team, would like to report to you that we have lost a big sale. Right at the beginning, first line already, you give the bad news, so it's no, right? So there's no buffer here. So, and before that, even the subject line, you look at anything wrong with this, anything, is it okay, the subject line, report on loss of big sale? Can this be improved? Even the subject line also, stay neutral. Don't announce. You see the word loss? Avoid using announcing the bad news. Avoid announcing bad news even in the subject line. And of course, avoid announcing the bad news immediately in the first line of the message. Yeah. So no, right? Even the subject line also. Try to keep it neutral. How should the subject line be? How to keep it neutral? How can you rephrase this, rewrite this? How? Make it neutral. Yes. Report on September sales or something. Monthly sales report or September 2020 sales report. Something neutral. Don't say whether, don't mention even, that there was a loss of big sale and so on. So keep it neutral. And also the salutation, right? Dear sir, again, right? What is wrong with this? You're writing to your boss, so definitely you know your boss name, right? Your boss's name. So address the person, once again, address the person in charge by name. Dear Mr. So-and-so, right? Or any other title, Dato or Doctor or whatever, right? So don't be so, unless you're writing to a general public, dear sir, stroke madam. Otherwise, it's to a specific person, address the person in person by name. Yeah. Okay. So, right, like you say, no buffer, so you should have a buffer. And even introduction also, this is actually the details already. You have gone straight into the detail. In a bad news message, the bad news is announced in the detail section, right? Not in these two. So these two sections are missing here, right? And in fact, this one lost a big sale. What's wrong with this? We have lost a big sale. What do you think? Sorry? Amount. Yes. It is not specific. It is vague and ambiguous. Remember, right? Don't use terms like big sale, small, recently, as soon as possible. These are all vague, ambiguous expressions. So be specific. Remember, precise, right? The style that you should use for technical writing, precise. Say the exact, as far as possible. Be as precise as possible. So here, big sale, it doesn't help much. How big? How much is a loss, right? So you have to mention either in terms of percentage or dollars and cents, right? So there should be some quantum that's mentioned here. It means the amount. Okay, good. Right, and then as you can see, the closing is not a positive closing, right? So this is not well written, right? This bad news message. Bad news message. So let's see how it can be rewritten. The same question. So if you follow the BIDAC indirect approach, you must have all these sections, right? All these sections must be present. There must be a buffer. For example, this is a suggested answer. You can write the buffer by stating that I would like to submit an update of our sales report for the month of September. Okay, so that's the buffer, neutral, right? Not positive, not negative, it's neutral. No mention of loss of any big sale, not here, right? And then, of course, the intro is where you, this example of how you can write the intro. Intro is where you introduce the context, right? Like leading to the bad news, but still no mention of bad news yet. Although we have successfully surpassed our sales target in the first half of 2020, it has been a challenge to sustain it in the current economic downturn, right? So this is an introduction which is leading the reader, right, towards the bad news announcement, but it's not announced yet, right? Setting the stage, so-called, right? And then in the details, this is a detail, you can continue in the same paragraph. Due to the recent pandemic, we have been struggling to reach our goal. We only managed to sell 200,000 units. And so this resulted in a loss of 700,000 ringgit. Can you see? So the bad news is mentioned here and the units are mentioned. It's specific, it's precise. Yeah. So the bad news is actually mentioned only in this part, usually in the detail section of the letter, not in the beginning, not even in the introduction. Yeah. And then after which you have given the details of the sales report, then you state what action you have taken or what action you want the reader to take. So for example, this writer writes, to boost sales for the last quarter of this year, we plan to run a promotional event and offer more attractive discounts. So this is the action that they plan to take. And then end with a positive close. I'm confident that our promotion will be able to achieve our sales target. Please contact me if you need more information. Okay, so it ends with a positive close. So this is what you mean by for using this approach, right? What do you call it? The 5-point approach for bad news messages. Yeah. Okay, we go to very quickly. There was also one question 5. I asked you to write also another email. Email your I don't know whether you've done this, but you can look at the example here. Email your instructor about a project you are now working on for class, outlining your progress and describing any difficulties you're having. So possibly this is a student, right? You're working on a project and you want to email your instructor, your lecturer. And in the email to tell about to inform him on giving information. Inform your instructor about the progress you have made and any difficulties you're facing. Okay, so you tell me, what approach do you use for writing this email? What kind of approach? Direct, indirect?
Direct.
Yeah, definitely direct approach. Direct approach because it's not bad news, so it's just giving information, right? So direct is the easiest, right? That means start with the intro, then go to the details, action, and close the date. So example, how do you, as for direct for introduction, in this kind of email, you're giving information, you're writing to instructor. So possibly in your introduction, what you can do is, since you are a student, you can start by introducing yourself. Who are you? So that otherwise your lecturer may not know which student is writing to him. So you can mention your name and so on. And then straight away mention the purpose of your email, right, in your introduction, right? So no need buffer here. Straight away go to the introduction. Introduce yourself, right, and state your purpose. Usually this is what is done in introduction. Or if you are, like I said, if you are replying to a letter, then in your introduction, you thank them for the letter. Thank them, thank you for your letter dated such and such. Refer to the letter that you've received, right? Okay, so back to this. Student, identify yourself. You can give your metric number, whatever, give your name, and then say your purpose. The purpose of this email is to inform you of my progress on my research or my project. And don't just stop here, right? Always give the title, give some details a bit. Project maybe one student maybe doing 4 or 5 projects, maybe even in the same course, right? So which project are you referring to, right? Give a title. Every project, every research, every what do you call it, project that you're working on has a title, isn't it? So give a title. And title, right? This one you add in yourself now. Yeah. So your instructor receiving this email will be very clear. Oh, okay, she's talking about this project. Fine. Yeah. After introduction, then you go to the details straight away. So in details, you tell you mention, give him information on your progress, how much you have done, how much you have not done, right? And any problems you have, challenges you have encountered, or how you have solved your problem, all this will come in under details. Yeah, it can be written in 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs. It depends on how detailed you want it to be, right? How much details you're giving, right? So this one he has written it this way. At the moment, I'm working on data collection through survey and interview. The 15 survey questions were sent to 50 participants through online platform. I have also completed the interview, blah, blah, blah. I face challenges such as, I think he mentioned some of the difficulties, insufficient time and slow response rate. Okay, so these are the details. And then after which, you must state your action, call for action. Action can be what you have planned to do to overcome your challenges, or what you plan to do from here onwards, or what you want the instructor to do for you, right? Maybe give you some suggestion on how to overcome your problem. Whatever it is, you state here before you close, before you end your email. In my effort to overcome these challenges, I revise my plan and deadlines to improve my time management efforts. I look forward to receiving your feedback on my progress. Yeah, so that's the action that you have mentioned here. Then finally, just a simple 1-line close. Thank you for your guidance or for your input. Okay, right? This kind of letters is more, like I said, the direct approach is easier to write. Yeah, very straightforward, and there's nothing negative in direct approach. You're just giving information or you're requesting for something. That's all. It's only the bad news message is a little bit more tricky. Give it more. You have to think carefully on how you approach the subject. Okay. We look at one more question. Also, last week's homework. Question 6, you have just missed work or a class meeting. Email your employer or your instructor explaining the reason and telling how you intend to make up the work. Let's say you're a student. After you are a student, you missed the class last week. So email your instructor, explain the reason, telling your instructor how you intend to make up for the work. Okay. So what kind of message or what kind of approach should you take for this? Direct or indirect? Anyone?
Indirect.
Why indirect? Is it bad news?
Bad news, maybe you miss a work.
Yeah, it's bad news is because you missed the class, but you're not informing your instructor that you are going to miss his class. That could possibly be bad news. But it's actually giving information, because your purpose in writing is actually giving the reason, explaining the reason. You have already missed the class, but you're giving the reason. So it's not bad news. You're just giving information. So it is still direct. Yeah, still direct. Yeah. Right. So in your introduction again, since you're a student, if you're writing instructor, just explain, introduce yourself, who you are, and then state the purpose for writing. Remember, this purpose is not to tell him you're going to miss the class. The purpose is to explain to him why you missed the class. Yeah, so it's still giving information. So, example, this one suggests the answer. I'm so and so, and I would like to apologize for missing your class. And please mention the date, right? Don't just say I missed your class last week, 2 days ago, last month, and give a date on a specific date, which date you missed the class. Okay, and it's good also to mention what class, maybe your for missing your GLT 111 class on such and such a date. That's it, right? So straight to the point, direct. Give your purpose, state who you are, say who you are, and then give your reason for writing. Then you give the detail. What do you write in the details then? What should follow? What should go into your details then after this?
The reason.
Correct.
Reason why.
Yes, this is where you give your reason. Reason. So example lah, the reason why I could not attend was because I had to attend basketball selection for this weekend. Give the date this weekend, right? So the reasons are given. And then before you end the email, reason given already, isn't it? Before you end, goodbye, thank you, state your action, call for action. Action on what you plan to do or what you want the instructor to do. For example, in this case will be based on action will be because of the question here, right? So you mentioned what you plan to do lah. Regarding the class, I understand there's an assignment for us. I am working on the assignment right now and will submit it before the deadline. Now this is your action lah, and just and then after the simple close, I hope you will accept my letter of excuse thing, right? Okay. It is also another direct approach. Okay, fine. So we are done, right? With your homework. On email writing today, we go on to letter writing. Yeah, like we mentioned, letters in the business world, although you may say that, oh, email so easy to send, why do people still send letters? Letters are still very important. Although most of us think that in the case of personal correspondence, we don't write letters anymore. I think you hardly write letters, right, to friends and relatives and families, right? We send email. But in the business world, letters still very important. It has a place. Okay, and today we will talk about this letter writing, and it will also be covered. Remember, in your test, it will be covered last week's work on memo, email, and as well as IMS, and this week's work. Yeah, letter writing. In letter writing, because it is the most formal form of correspondence, so format is very important. Unlike in memo and email, format is very simple only, right? You remember your memo format. Email, just a slight variation where you have salutation and signing off. But letters is very important, the standard format that you're going to use. You're going to talk about that. And according to and it's found, and this chapter on letters is found in chapter 4 in your textbook, and it's covered in this. Only this one appears in this paper. You look at chapter 4, it's around these few pages under letter. In fact, more than that, the big part of chapter 4, the different kinds of letters. But we will look through, I will tell you which part you concentrate on. No need to search through the whole chapter, but it's found in chapter 4. Okay, this is given in page 98, 99, I think. Explaining why letters are still important. Okay, because letters represent your company's public image. Email also represents a public image, but it's more so letters. Letters are more formal, right, than other types of business communication. Keep that in mind. Official legal record of an agreement, they use letter. If you have made an agreement, you sign a deal, a partnership, right, business dealings, it must be formalized in writing in the form of letter, right, as a legal record, not email. Email is not accepted as an official legal record. So information regarding this partnership agreement or whatever should be in the form of a letter. And letters, of course, are more permanent than emails. Emails can be easily deleted and lost, right? But letters, once it's sent out, right, once it's written, it's permanent, right? Are more permanent in that sense. Of course, it can be lost also, but not as easily as electronic mails, right? Okay, and it is the official and expected medium through which important documents and attachments are sent to readers. Remember that important documents like legal documents, financial documents, accounts, and so on. It should be sent through as an attachment via letters. Letters is considered the official and expected medium. Okay, and letters are the most respectful and approved way to conduct business with many international audiences. Normally, international audiences, you communicate with them in writing through letters. Of course, emails we still do. Businesses do that also through emails. You write to different people in other parts of the world, but letters is the more respectful, I say, a respectful form of communication. So letters is still at the top, right? Most formal, and in fact, when you write some of these important correspondence, like, I don't know, applying for application for job should be written in the form of a letter rather than just an email. But I think many times people still, nowadays people do apply for job through email. It depends on the company actually. Okay, and then of course letters are more confidential. Letters are more confidential, right? Any confidential information like staff appraisal, or you talk about some staff performance and so on, it should be sent through letters, information rather than through email or even through memo. Yeah, letters are more confidential. Right. So that's the reason why letters are still very important in business writing. Yeah. So okay, we go straight to format. Right. In letter writing, format is very important. There are all kinds of format if you check in your textbook, but we are following for this course, and most part of correspondence in this part of the world, use the fully blocked style with open punctuation. The information is given in your handout and it can be found on Spectrum. It is also described in the slide cast by Dr. Yeo, mini lecture on this fully blocked style with open punctuation. So we're going to look at this now very quickly, right? This is actually taken straight from the handout, but we will just go through very quickly. And please pay attention, follow this closely, because in your test next week, you have to write a letter using this format, right? And specific marks, 8 to 10 marks are given just for format. So any mistake in your format first, you lose marks. So the easiest way to get full marks is to make sure you follow the right format. Make sure your format is correct. So the format we are using is called the fully blocked layout, fully blocked. And it's now the most widely used method. Okay, if you look at this letter, it follows the fully blocked layout. All right, what do you just at one glance on the letter, what do you notice about this fully blocked? What do you notice? Anybody? Anything you notice regarding fully blocked layout? Hello? Anything you notice here? One thing is you can see, I don't know whether you agree or not, the letter looks very professional, very neat, very business-like. Yeah? And usually fully blocked layout gives this kind of clean, professional appearance. So that's why we want to follow this layout, this style, right? Do you notice something? Everything starts from the
Left.
Yes, left margin. Everything starts from the left margin, right? Even in the body, right? There is no indent. Can you see? No indent, no indentation. Even if you start new paragraphs, everything starts on the left margin. Nothing on your right. Please don't write address over this side, margin over to the right, or in the center. These are other kinds of layout. We won't use that. So in your test, you're specifically asked to use this format, fully blocked layout. So remember that, okay? Remember that. Right. Okay, together with fully blocked, it also comes with open punctuation. So it's a fully blocked layout with open punctuation. Open punctuation are usually used with fully blocked layout. It gives a very business-like appearance. What do you mean by open punctuation? Basically, it means this, that if you notice that there are no punctuation marks in the address, in the date line, in the address, even in the salutation. Can you see a comma there? No comma, right? No punctuation marks in salutation. No punctuation mark in this is called the complimentary close. Yours sincerely, no comma. Yeah. So the only time where punctuation marks appear is in the body of the letter where you're writing the message. That one, of course, is important. You have your full stop, your commas, and so on, because it adds to the meaning, isn't it? Right? It adds clarity to the meaning of the message. Punctuation marks, only time it appears is in the body of the letter where your message is. In the other parts of the letter, formally, I don't know whether you have learned in school, right? In letter writing, where you have, and even writing your dates also, there's comma, full stop, address with comma and all that. No, in this case, no. Okay, leave out, drop all the punctuation marks elsewhere in the letter except in the body. So that's what I mean by open punctuation. Again, the reason being, it gives a neater look, right? And anyway, having punctuation marks here doesn't add extra meaning, right, to what you are saying here, isn't it, to the address and so on. It's only functional when you use it in the message, in the content of the letter. Okay, we only use it when it does a certain function. Okay, so otherwise you don't use it. Now remember that. So for your content, for your letter writing in your what next week, in your test, remember, right? All this, and another thing, please remember, do not number your paragraphs. Please, no numbering 2, 3. Don't number your paragraph. This one only in bahasa Malaysian letters. Letters in Malay, official letters they number it, but not in English letters. Okay. So, all right, we start very quickly. This format, of course, this is written with a letter. This is called a letterhead. If you're writing from your company and in the future in your workplace, most likely your company, your organization will have a letterhead, but sometimes it may not have. So it depends. So the letterhead usually will have a logo like this. In this case, it's a company, Shirley Taylor Training and Consultancy. So she is writing, right, using her company's letter name, the logo, and for the company, and of course it also contains the company's name, right? The letterhead will be the company's name and company address. But in your case, you're doing for this course, the letters you're writing for the test or for this course or in your homework, no need to design any logo and letterhead. No need. Don't waste your time. Just write if you're writing on behalf of the company, just make up a company's name and give the address. Yeah? You can write your name and then the address. That's it. This is called the return address. That means it's the writer's address. Yeah, that's it at the top there. And after that, followed by, there's a reference. And the reference also no need in your case because reference is used in the workplace where you want for filing purpose and so on. So that one can leave out. The next one is very important, deadline. So you have your address, right, followed by the date. Now, please use the UK style. This is UK style. This is style that we've all been using. Right? The date first, followed by the month, spell it out, and then the year. Okay, and as mentioned last week, if you check in your textbook, it's written the other way because they follow the American style. We put the month in front. We don't do that. We follow this style, UK style. It's actually the standard international style. Okay, so you use this style, and remember, no punctuation marks, no comma after the month, no full stop, and so on. So keep it clear. Yeah. Okay, so that's the date, and there's spacing after the address, spacing, just space one line, only one line spacing, and then comes the next part. Also is important. This is called the inside address. This is the person that you are writing to, right? This is the person you are. This will be your reader. So write his name. Always address the reader with his name, then his address. It can be name and then his job title also can, right? If it's writing to somebody, manager, head of department, the dean or something, then his name, then his job title, and then the address. Okay. And again, no punctuation marks. Yeah. Okay. After the inside address, then the salutation, dear so and so. Yeah. Again, no punctuation mark, no comma here. And here in this case, he's using the first name, dear Dennis. It depends. Usually this happens in follow-up letters where this person Shirley has been writing to Dennis a few times, so they are familiar with each other or whatever. So you don't need that Mr. So-and-so. Otherwise, you should be more formally addressed, dear Mr. So-and-so. Okay. After the salutation, leave a space and then you use the heading. Always remember to write the heading. In your textbook, there is no heading. The American style, they don't follow heading, but we stick to this. You stick to this handout. So in the heading, this way is similar to subject line in the memo and email. It's written, notice it's written in full caps, all capital, heading, right? Okay. It gives you the title, it gives a gist of what the letter is about, right? A very brief, like in this way, the gist, to inform the reader, at least the reader have an idea before reading a message, what is your letter about? It's about the fully blocked layout. So it's going to describe the fully blocked layout. Okay, heading, and then of course you come to the body of the letter, which can be made up of a few paragraphs, right? And then here is where each paragraph will have its own function, right? A spacing, one line spacing in between paragraph, and no indentation. Please remember that everything is aligned to on the left margin. All right. And here, of course, it depends on your message, right? If it's a bad news message, then you follow the indirect approach, right? And then if it's a good news message, you follow the direct approach, right? The introduction, the details, the action, the close, or the buffer, the introduction, the details, the action, and the close. So it's in the body. And then, of course, when you end with a complimentary close. Yours sincerely, no comma, right? Stick to yours sincerely, and please do not come out with all the flowery kind of close, lots of love, this and that, or best wishes. No, like just stick to yours sincerely. Yours sincerely is when in your salutation you mention dear and then the person's name. Your salutation is the person's name is mentioned, dear Dennis or dear Mr. Dennis Haraka, okay, or dear Madam so and so. But if your salutation is just dear sir or madam, if the person's name is not mentioned, then your complimentary close should be yours truthfully. Yours truthfully. But I suggest that in your letter, when you write for your test or even for your homework, specify the person by name and then always close with a yours sincerely. Okay? So stick to that, then you won't have to remember this or that. So stick to this, yours sincerely, no comma. And then your signature here, leave a few lines for your signature. Don't stop there. You must, below your signature, followed by your signature block. That means your full name and the job title. Okay. In this case, you don't need to write your organization address and so on anymore because it's already written up here in your address. So it's just your full name and your job title, right? And that will be your signature block. Okay. So we are here now, designation and department, and that's it. Okay, enclosure, this one you don't need to include in your letter that you're writing for the course, because these are meant to indicate what attachments you have attached, what documents you have attached to your letter. And of course, a copy is, are you sending this to other copies of this letter to other people as well, besides the main person here? It's just like your CC in your email. So you don't have to include these two when you're writing your letter for your test next week or even for your homework. Okay, so that's it. So this is a block format with open punctuation. Okay, clear? Yeah, remember, some of these points here. So, all right, before we go on, we have to, I'm going to talk a little bit about the style of writing, whether in your memo or letter. Remember to achieve the you attitude in your writing. We have talked about style and tone, right? Your style and tone in week 2 regarding how you write your messages. So this is just a quick reminder. When you write, achieve the you attitude, that's the right style and tone. It means that you write in such a way that you show your reader that your reader is an important person. Not you, not the writer is important, but the reader is important. So example of achieving the you attitude. In fact, you can read this up in your text here, textbook pages 109 to 112. Yeah. For example, use less of I and we. For example, like this: we shipped your order today. This is a more focus on the writer is focusing on themselves. We shipped your order. It doesn't use less of this, right? Because it doesn't show the you attitude. Instead of writing this way, write in such a way that you focus more on the you, on the reader. Okay? How do you think you can rewrite this? Instead of saying, we shipped your order, stressing on the we, how can you rewrite this to give more focus and emphasis on the you, the reader? How can you rewrite this? We shipped your order. Anybody?
You will receive your order today.
Correct, yes. You will receive your order, or your order will arrive on a certain day, right? Today. This way we ship should be, mention the date. You will receive, or your order will arrive on Thursday, on a certain day. So this is what I mean by focus more on you, right? Okay, another example. I am happy to inform you that we have approved your loan. So again, too much of emphasis on the writer. on the writer's part. So how can you rephrase this? Show more focus on the you. Example?
Your
loan has been approved.
Yes, your application has been approved, or congratulations, your loan is your loan is approved, right? Congratulations, your loan is approved. You see, so it's focused on the you. So make sure that the reader feels important. We want the reader to feel important when you write this way. When you write this way, the reader doesn't feel that he's important, right? You are writing from the writer's point of view. Always write from the reader's point of view. Put yourself in the reader's shoe. That's what they say. Okay, another example is achieving the you attitude. It makes your message more positive, right? How to make it positive? For example, avoid focusing on what cannot be done. For example, don't write like this now. It will be impossible to open an account for you until you send us your signature card. Yeah. So don't write it this way. You're focusing on what cannot be done. Remember all the nots and the impossible or negative words. Avoid it as far as possible. Instead, focus on what can be done. How do you write this thing? In the same, rewrite it so that it is more positive. How?
We can open an account for you if you send us your signature card.
Yeah, you can put it that way, right? So what can be done? We will open your account as soon as you send us your signature card, for example. Yeah. So what can be done? So do not stress on what cannot be done. Or your account will be open as soon as you send us your signature card. Okay. All right. Good. Another one. Staff should not use the customer parking lot. You're talking to the staff. Staff should not use the customer parking lot. What is a better way of saying or focusing on what cannot be done? Focus on what can be done. What do you say? How do you think it can be said? Rephrased. Anybody?
Staff may use the staff parking lot.
Yes, exactly. Instead of telling the staff don't park here, tell the staff where they can park. That's what you mean by focus on what can be done. So just say, okay, there's a special parking lot for staff is provided on the second floor. Or you can just say staff can park in a special staff parking lot, something like, or staff can park in a public parking lot, something like that. Something that's positive and straightforward, right? Instead of focusing what cannot be done. Good. And finally, to avoid the loss of your membership, you must please do this, to avoid the loss of your membership. Rephrase that to, instead of saying avoid the loss,
to retain your membership.
Yes, good. To retain, to keep, to maintain your membership, or to renew your membership, right? To keep your membership, please do this. Rather than saying like this, so negative, to avoid the loss of your membership. Yeah. So keep that in mind. That is what I mean by being positive. And one more example, when you achieve the you attitude, what you're doing is you're protecting the reader's ego. Always, as a writer, protect your reader's ego. Remember, your reader is very important people because they are your business partner, business client, customers, and so on. They may make or break your business. So you want to protect the ego. Okay? And one way is to avoid blaming the reader. For example, don't say things like this. You failed to sign your check. Instead, stay neutral. How can you rephrase this? Don't focus on what you failed to do. Don't focus on the person like it's your fault. You fail, and what like fail also is very bad, right? Stay neutral. How can you rephrase this to tell the reader that the check is not signed? Just say
The check is not signed.
just focus on the issue. Your check is not signed, right? Or it was not signed, or your check arrived without signature, or maybe please stop by today to sign your check, right? This will be during the pre-MCO days. Please stop by to sign your check. Please, you see, it's neutral. It doesn't put the blame on anyone, especially not on the person you're writing to. Okay? Another one, in your letter, you claim that the item stopped working. Again, blaming the reader that you claim that the item stopped working in your letter. You claim it, but I don't think it's true. That's implying that's what you're implying when you say that only you claim. You say that it has stopped working, but I don't think so. I don't agree. That's what you're implying here. So instead of saying you claim, stay neutral. Say something like this. Your letter says that the item stopped working. Okay, so it is more neutral. Don't use words like you claim. You claim means it's actually implying that only you claim, only you say so, but it's not true. I don't agree with you, something like that. So, okay, so remember, so this is achieving the you attitude. Whether in letter writing, memo writing, email writing, all kinds of correspondence. Remember that. So this is the style that we are, the tone that you want to achieve. Okay, very quickly, we're going to look at some kinds of customer relations letter after all that we have been saying. Customer relations letters maintain working relationship with customers. This is typically for when you write to customers. Now, in customer relations letter, it can be both good or bad news. Okay, so this is one example of a customer relations letter taken from your textbook, right? But it is not well written, it's poorly written, right? And why is it poorly written? Let's look at it, and you tell me why. Okay. Now this is a format followed by in the textbook, so it's American style. So please don't follow this style of deadline, like what was mentioned earlier. Okay, Mr. Daniel Sobol, dear Mr. Sobol, this is to inform you of a rent increase starting next month. Your new rent will be 3,500. This is bad news or good news? Certainly bad news, isn't it? To Mr. Sobol, because the person is going to increase his rent. Please make sure that your January rent check includes this increase. And sincerely, okay, this is the manager, right? Why is this not effective? Why is it a poorly written bad news letter? What do you think? Poorly written customer relations letter. Example of a customer relations letter. What is wrong with this letter? Look at the content, just the content itself. Look at the opening line. This is to inform you of a rent increase. No what?
No buffer.
There's no buffer.
No buffer. Straight away, very blunt. Blunt opening, no buffer. Straight away, tell bad news already, right? So very poor. And then what else? Starting next month, your new rent will be 3,500, resulting in a 15% increase. This is his detail. Is it sufficient information? What else should be added, do you think? You can see that the writer here doesn't seem to show much concern for the reader, isn't it? Right? This is what you mean by no you attitude. It doesn't achieve the you attitude. Your new rent will be 3,500, resulting in the 15% increase. What else do you think he can add here in his details? At least give
the reason.
Give reasons explain why is there a rent increase. I mean, Mr. Sobo has a right to know, isn't it? He has to pay higher rent, so at least be courteous. This is actually very rude, very rude, very demanding, right? As if Mr. Sobo owes him something. Actually, Mr. Sobo is his customer, so, but he shouldn't be writing like this, right? So this kind of detail, there's insufficient information, no explanation given to help in understanding. It actually implies that Mr. Griffin here does not care, has no concern for the reader, which is a no-no, right, in business writing. And then it ends here. Please make sure that your January rent check includes this increase. So closing also very, very demanding. Again, it is actually very rude and discourteous throughout, because of these reasons. Okay, so do not write it this way. And we look at the revised version on the next page in your textbook, page 121. Look at the revised version. Since it's writing about a rent increase, it's a bad news message. So if it's a bad news message, you follow this approach. So you start with a buffer. Let's look at the buffer. Look at the buffer. So how well written it is. Positive, right? No bad news announced yet. It has been a pleasure to have you as a tenant at the mall for the past 2 years, and we look forward to serving you in the future. See how professional it is. It's not only courteous, it's professional. And it builds goodwill. And even if you write it in a very professional way, even rent increase also, they will want to stay on. right? The tenant, they won't feel offended, right? All because you have taken care to show your concern through your writing. Okay, after buffer will be the intro, right? Introduction. This is where you set let's see how he writes his intro. Over these last 2 years, we have experienced a dramatic increase in costs at River Road Mall for security, maintenance, landscaping, pest control, utilities, insurance, and taxes. So that is his introduction here. Okay? And you can see actually his introduction, he's already giving some details. He's already stating the reasons, isn't it, why his rent is going to increase because of this. Because of the increase in cost for all this, that's why he has to increase the rent, you see. So in his introduction, he set the stage, right? He's leading up to the bad news that he's going to announce. And so the bad news is announced here in the details after the introduction. Last year, we absorbed those increases and so did not have to raise your rent. We wish we could do it again, but unfortunately, we must increase your rent by 15% to 35,000 effective January 1st. See, the details very well written, and the bad news is actually given here. We must increase your rent somewhere in the middle, in the details section, not right at the beginning, at the opening line of the letter. Okay, and then after that, followed by after details, you see if it's a bad news message, in the action part, right? It is where the writer tries to give offer some kind of a compensation or some kind of mention something that is some kind of compensation that you can make, if any let's say right, for let's say having to raise the rent or having to unable to refund you or unable to give a new replacement or something like this, some kind of compensation, like okay, we give you a discount or vouchers or whatever. So this is the action that you can mention it in the action section. So let's see what he says here. Although no one likes a rent increase, we know that you do not want us to compromise on the quality of service that you and your customers expect and deserve from River Road Mall. Okay, so here the writer very cleverly, he says here, he gives the rationale that with the rent increase, so your quality of service remains good, right? So that we won't compromise on the service. So how he links the bad news to the reader's benefit. He emphasized the benefit. Although there's a rent increase, but you will benefit from it. Although you have to pay more for the rent, you benefit because the quality of service you receive will continue to be good. Continue to be high standard quality, something like that. And of course, finally, you end with a positive close. Please let us know how we can assist you in the future. We wish you a very successful, profitable year. If you have any questions, say something positive, right? Because you can be quite sure that Mr. Sobo most likely won't mind paying the rent increase because it has been written so cleverly and professionally, courteously, and positively, right? Although it's a bad news. So you see the reason why it's important to say some, especially in bad news, to follow this approach to follow this approach. All right, very quick again. Okay, let me just a little bit more. Right, there are two kinds of customer relation letter we're going to look at: complaint letter and adjustment letter, and they're found in your handout as well as in your textbook. By the way, adjustment letters are letters that respond to complaint letters. Okay, when your company or your organization receive a complaint letter from your customers, right? So you have to respond. You have to reply to the complaint letter, and these are called adjustment letters. Okay, very quickly we look at these two kinds of letters and see what kind of approach you can use. Now, this is a complaint letter. I have actually covered this last week for memo writing. The same message actually is written in this case. Now it's written in the form of a letter. So please, you can see the fully block format that's being used, right? First is the address, the name of the writer's address, and then the date, right? UK style, and then the person you're writing to, the name specifically. If you notice, please identify the specific person. Don't just write manager. Manager, Luigi's Restaurant. Person's name. Always address the specific person by name, because you would want that person whose name is mentioned, that person will most likely be the one who will have to respond to your complaint. We will have to act on it. If it's too general to manager or just to Luigi restaurant, right? Most likely your complaint will not be acted upon immediately as promptly, right? So address here, and also in the salutation also, right? Address the person, dear Miss Rossi, address by name, not just dear madam, dear sir. Yeah, address by name. And then of course if you notice here is the heading dining experience on 17 March, the date is given, and as you can see it's a complaint about his dining experience in his restaurant, but there's no mention of anything negative here. So again, subject line, keep it neutral. It doesn't say bad dining experience or unpleasant dining experience. Something just neutral, dining experience, and of course the date should be mentioned. So the subject line, keep it neutral. Okay. So again, because it's a complaint letter are bad news letters, bad news to the recipient, right? So use the indirect approach. So even if you are lodging a complaint, right, you still start with a buffer, right? I have enjoyed dining at Luigi's for years. My family frequently visit your restaurant. The food are delicious. The staff are always friendly and attentive. Start with something positive, right? And then there's a reason for this, because when you want to complain something, you want something to be done, isn't it? Usually when people complain, they want to ask for a refund or voucher or discount or something, and you will want the person who is receiving your complaint to agree with your request, to give you what you want. So the best way is to approach it in a positive way. Instead of starting straight away, the first line you scold the person and say, oh, I had a lousy experience at your restaurant, so on. So most likely people won't fulfill your request, isn't it? If that's the case. Okay. After the buffer, then come the intro, right? Last Saturday evening, I took my date for a special meal at your. I am afraid the services were not up to my expectation. You see, this is already setting the stage, right, of your complaint. Yeah, it's already indicating that it's a complaint, right? It's a bad news. And then, of course, after stating this, not up to my expectation, then you give the reason, you explain exactly what happened. So that's come in the details, right? And then, of course, after giving all the details and all that, then you must remember, state the action. Now, what do you want them to do as a result of your complaint? Here, he just say, I appreciate if you could talk to the staff about improving the services. Okay, this is the action that he requires, right? And then end with a positive close. I look forward to more special meals at Luigi that we have always been enjoying. Okay, right? Positive close. So this is how you should write a complaint letter following the indirect method. Buffer, intro, details, action, positive close. Okay, all right. Yeah, this is if you can remember, this was a warmer given to you as you were asked to do in the first week to write a formal complaint letter. If you can still remember, and some of you did email to me, write a formal complaint about a product or service you're not happy about, using the format and style you think are appropriate. Now we are in week 7 already. Edit in week 7. So have a look again at the letter that you've written, the complaint letter. I hope you still have it somewhere, and then relook it. Just want you to just relook it and compare how you have written, the format you've written with what you have learned today, how to write complaint letter using this format. Did you have a buffer, right? Do you have a positive closing? Yeah. So relook just to compare what you've written and based on what you have learned today, how to write complaint letter. Okay, then we'll quickly look at the adjustment letter. Like I say, adjustment letter is a letter that replies to a complaint letter. So there are 2 ways to reply to a complaint letter. Either you say yes to what the person is complaining about and request. For example, usually when people complain then they will ask for something, a refund, a replacement, or something. Okay, so your answer, you must respond to any complaint, a complaint letter that you receive. So you can either answer in 2 ways. You can either answer yes, we will send you a refund. Yes, we will send you a replacement. Or not always that you have to say yes to the customer, right? To the unhappy customer. Sometimes you have to say no. No, sorry, we can't give you a refund. No, sorry, we can't replace the what. So 2 ways of writing the adjustment letter. If your adjustment letter says yes, we will give you a refund, then it's a good news message. Then you follow the direct approach. Like for example here, this is taken from your textbook. An adjustment letter saying yes to the complaint letter in figure. You can look at the complaint letter that is given in your textbook. But here I'm only showing you the adjustment letter replying to this complaint. But it is saying yes to whatever was mentioned here. So use the direct approach, right? Because it's a good news, right? So you start with introduction. Thank you for alerting us in your letter, dated to your problem with one of your model. This one is he's complaining about fishing rod that he bought lah. Okay, so he was not happy, so he was complaining. So this person replied and said, "I'm sorry for the convenience. A new Smith reel." That means he has asked for a replacement, and so the answer is yes. We are sending you a new product. A new Smith reel is on his way. This reel is a fishing rod lah. Okay. So for adjustment letter saying yes is straightforward lah, because it's good news letter. So start with introduction and then go on to the details. Is we have examined. You still have to explain actually what went wrong. We have examined it and we found, and then you give some explanation, and then after that you just end. Thank you for your business. Please let me know if we can assist you again. The close is direct. But if the adjustment letter says no, right? This is a second adjustment letter, but this letter is saying no to the same complaint letter. They ask for a replacement, but you cannot give. So how do you say it? In this way, you have to use the indirect method. You still start with the buffer. Okay. Thank you for writing to us about the trouble you experienced. We are sorry to hear about difficulties you have with your whatever lah, right? You notice that there's no mention here that we cannot refund you or we cannot send you a new replacement. You don't mention it. You just say something that's neutral, that's positive. Thank you for writing to us, and we sympathize with you. We are sorry that you have difficulty using our product. Yeah. And then your introduction, here he says, we have examined your reel and found the difficulty. Okay, that's the introduction. And then the details is what happened. He's explaining what happened, right? And then the bad news is only mentioned towards the end here. Since our warranty does not cover pushing the pin, we cannot send you a replacement. You see, the bad news is announced here. And the reasons given, the explanation reasons are given. Okay? But then, of course, after that, followed by an action where you try to make some compensation, right, to your customer, although you cannot, it's a bad news, you are not giving a new replacement. However, we want you to have many happy hours of fishing, so we will be happy to repair your reel for so much and return it to you within 5 to 7 days. This is the offer or compensation that you are giving to your customer under action. Okay, and then positive close. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for writing to us. Okay, look up these. These are in your textbook. So these are example of customer relations letter. Okay, just a little bit more. So we are done with letter writing of complaint letter, writing of adjustment letter, right, and the letter format. And now we look at, right, if you need to write to international audience, right? Remember nowadays, because we're in a global village, so we do businesses and so on. We do have dealings with international readers from places and countries where most likely their English level may not be the first language, right? And they may not be able to, that's why it's important to keep your message simple and concise and straightforward. So some guidelines when you communicate with international readers, always use common, easily understood vocabulary. Whether with international local readers also, this should be followed, right? For example, instead of big words like endeavor, use a simple word, try. Instead of saying prohibit, say stop. These are all same meaning, right? Remember, right? We did this all in week 2, right? Instead of saying terminate, use a simpler word, a common word. And we need to terminate our agreement. Just say we need to end our agreement. Okay? Instead of indicate or demonstrate, just show. Please indicate to us what you mean. Please show us what you mean. Right? Instead of using big words or multi-syllabic words. Okay. Another point is avoid words that have double meaning, right? Especially when you write to international readers. For example, instead of saying we fired the engine, this is actually the American style. We fired the engine. Actually, what they meant to say is we started up the engine. But the word fired is common in the American slang. Right, but to some people from other countries where English is not the first language, right, they may think that, oh, why you set fire to the engine? You know, the word fire can have different meaning. Or even we fired the staff. Fired in that case is we dismiss, not we set the staff on fire, right? So avoid words that have double meanings because it may cause misunderstanding and miscommunication. Yeah, that's why use simple, straightforward words, right? Use only widely known technical terms, terms like business technical terms, co-branding, telemarketing. These are all business technical terms. Make sure your readers are familiar with them. Yeah. Avoid idiomatic expressions. Idiomatic expressions are like this. I am all ears. This is maybe familiar to people where English is a first language. Okay, but it may not be familiar to people whose English is a second or third language. Basically, what it means is I am listening to you. I'm listening closely. I'm paying attention to what you are saying. Say that in those words, right? Use those simple words, straightforward, instead of using an idiomatic expression. Or another example is, we need to think outside of the box. We need to think out of the box. Okay, so this, we are quite familiar with that, what it means. But instead of using that, I'll try to avoid using terms like this. Say it directly. We need, what do you mean by think outside of the box? It means to think creatively, think more originally, be more original in your ideas and so on. So use the straightforward expressions. Otherwise, some people, especially international audience, they may not understand. Don't use unfamiliar abbreviation, acronyms, or contractions like ASAP, ASAP. Short forms and all that. Avoid. Say it out fully, completely, spell it out, write it out completely. Avoid all these abbreviations and so on. Keep your sentences simple and easy to understand. Yeah, simple and easy to understand. The best way is to avoid the passive voice. Always speak in the active voice. Instead of saying, the computer was bought by Ali. That's passive. Say it's an active voice, direct. Ali bought the computer. Okay, so that is I think I've given you some examples. We'll talk about this in week 2. Yeah, so in order, and active voice, usually the sentences are usually shorter. It's direct. The doer is in front, not at the back. The sentence. Use appropriate salutation, complimentary close, signature lines. Yeah, so usually complimentary close, for example, is yours sincerely. Don't say adios, sayonara, or Malaysia boleh. You know, terms that other international readers are not familiar. Let's stick to the familiar standard way of writing. Okay, this is some tips for writing to international readers. Remember, international readers don't have the same cultural background or context as you, so they won't understand. Yeah. Okay, so you can look at the example in the textbook, writing to an international audience. This is the one on page 148 is inappropriate, and then there's a revised version on page 149. So read up on that. Okay. All right, so we are done with this, right? We are done with letter writing. So just now we looked at the format, right? Remember, you use full block or fully block format. We open punctuation. We look at all the different parts of the letter, right? And then the direct approach, the indirect approach. We look at customer relations letter and international correspondence. Okay, and okay, homework. I don't really expect you to do the homework. If you, I mean, of course, you should do to practice your letter writing, right? But we won't be discussing much. This is on letter writing. It's on page 153. You can just do a few. But what I want to do afterwards is to go over question 4 and 5 with you, right? The rest are just on examples of writing of letters. You can use that as a practice, right? So, and then of course your handouts. This week there's another slide cast on fully blocked format, and then handout 1, handout 2, handout 3, all on Spectrum. Please download it. Okay. So with this, we will take a break, and what I want to do is, you're all here. What I want to do is, we take a break now. Any questions? Any questions? Are you still awake? Any questions? Or you think about it first. We come back. Again, we have about 5-minute break. We come back. We are going to look at your test. We're going to talk about your test next week. We're going to go through your test guidelines and some test sample questions. Is that okay? Okay? All right. So we leave now. You can leave the room now. I will start another video session afterwards. Yeah? Any question? And meanwhile, you can go to your Spectrum and look at your test sample questions. If you haven't seen it yet, download it, right, and try it out. Yeah? So that's your test guidelines. Okay? So, okay, I'm going to leave now, and I'll start again in another session afterwards. 5 minutes time. Come back about 5:40. Come back about 5:40. Yeah? Okay. Good to see most of you have put on your own profile picture. Kyrie, why are you wearing a mask in your profile picture? Is Ahmad here? Ahmad?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, have you sent in your attendance?
Oh,
Ah,
I forget.
yeah. We're going to do so now, otherwise it will be closed, huh?
Okay, madam.
Okay, right. Good. All of you are back. 369. Okay, good. All right. I'll go straight now to your test guidelines. We will look at, let me share screen. We'll look at the PDF version that Dr. Yo has downloaded. So, right. You can see this? All of you, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, right. So we start straight away. In case and if you have any questions, please, anything you're not clear. Like I say, I think you all have done online tests last semester, so it's not new, nothing new. Good news is next week there'll be no lecture lah, no lecture, because you'll be doing all your entire test, the 3 hours. You'll be spending all 3 hours of your class time doing your test. Okay, so it will be during your class time, so it'll be scheduled class time will be 8 of December lah, right? 8 of December starting at 4 p.m. lah, right? It will appear as an online quiz in your class forum. So you go to your class forum to get the link. Okay, weightage 40%. Yeah. Duration is 4 hours actually. 4 hours. The link to the test will open during your class time, an additional hour after that. Okay, so altogether 4 hours. You have 4 hours to complete the test and submit all your answers. Please be punctual and begin the test when your class starts. The link will start immediately, will open exactly at 4 p.m. Yeah. When the 4 hour duration is over, the link will be closed and no request to reopen it will be entertained. Please keep that in mind. That's why it's highlighted and it's bold. Okay. So make sure that 4 hours is actually more than enough time for you to do your test, right? But sometimes there have been cases where students, right, after they finish, they didn't submit the answers immediately, and then after that they've forgotten all about it, and when the 4 hour is up, the link will be closed, and then it will not be reopened. Yeah, so please remember, keep that in mind, and be be mindful of what you're doing lah. Don't carry on with other things and then you forget that you have not submitted your test yet. Okay, so remember, the link will not be reopened now once it's closed. In this case, yours will be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, sorry, 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 p.m. lah, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, right. This is the format. There are 3 sections, right? Section A, B, and C. Section A is 10%, where you rewrite messages using appropriate tone and style. There'll be 6 questions altogether. Rewrite in appropriate tone and style. This is the one that we have covered in week 2, right? And like achieving you attitude, like what you mentioned in the correct tone and style. Right, and then section B, followed by section B, which is 15%. Here you identify a suitable medium. I hope you remember what medium is, right? Choose the right medium for a message that you have to write, depending on the situation. Write a 1-paragraph message of 120 to 140 words using appropriate tone and style for the intended audience. There are 2 questions in section B. And finally, section C, 15%, where you have to write a complete formal letter, right? So the formal letter with format, everything is in section C. 1 letter based on the situation given. 1 question. Okay, So for sections A and B, type your answers in the space provided. But for section C, type your formal letter and save it as a Word document file. Yeah. Name the file using this format. Everybody use the same way of naming your file. Your own name followed by a metric number. Example, alias, and then your metric number. Okay. Submit your file by uploading it via the link. Okay. And remember, when you submit, make sure you submit the correct version, yeah? Especially in the section C, where you have to, where you type out your, where you write your formal letter in Word document. There will be cases, I mean, some of you, or maybe most of you, will be after writing, then you revise and you do a revised version and then another revised version. Maybe you have a few versions before you decide you're happy with your letter and then you want to submit, right? So make sure when you submit, you submit the final version, the correct version. Because there are students in the past, after submitting, and then they say, oh, madam, sorry, I submitted the wrong version. Sorry lah, I also sorry. Because once you have submitted, submission is final, there is no resubmission. Okay, keep that in mind, yeah, remember that. I mean, that's life lah, right? Sometimes in life, there's no second chance, right? So it also keeps, it's also good because it keeps you on your toes. Make sure you check and recheck before you, send something, do something, and make sure you are pay full attention and concentrate, full concentration in whatever you're doing lah. Yeah. Okay, so once you've submitted, so these are some of the reminders. Any questions so far? It's quite clear, isn't it? Right? What you need to do. Right? And okay, reminders, read the instructions carefully and answer all the questions based on the principles of technical writing. Instruction means instructions on the test paper lah, yeah? Or in the test. It's an individual test with questions randomly selected from a question bank on Spectrum. Yeah, you are expected to answer every question honestly and to the best of your capability without referring to any notes, books, materials, online websites or resources, software dictionaries, or discussing with anyone. This one, we have to trust you for it. Okay, so you are accountable for yourself, you are responsible for yourself, we have to trust you for it. And but just to let you know, the questions are selected. We have a huge question bank, so they are selected at random as they appear in your link. So very likely you don't have the same questions as your friend who is doing the test with you at the same time, or even at other time in other classes. So whatever it is, do not form a private chat group and start chatting and discussing among yourselves. So just do whatever you are required to do as in a normal test. Okay. All right. Next, you are encouraged to use a laptop to take the test, either laptop or a desktop. Try not to use iPad or your handphone. Yeah, preferably. I'm sure all of you will do have a laptop, right? Okay. Please ensure that you are properly registered on Spectrum and in the correct group according to the official Maya enrollment list dated 4th December. I think the list will be made known to you. But I think in this group, there's no problem, right? They're all together exactly 25 of you, and you're already officially registered, and you are in the Spectrum group K8. Yeah, because to do your test, you have to go to your K8 class forum. Yeah. This is very important. Please ensure that you have a stable internet connection for the test. If you face technical difficulty or connectivity issue during the test, inform your teacher immediately. That means inform me as soon as possible, immediately, right? And via WhatsApp to my handphone, either in the chat group, or I think preferably personal email, so it won't disturb the other people also, right? The others in the group. If you have problem, and if you are not sure whether your internet connectivity, you're not so confident of the internet connectivity, please make sure and check it by this week. I'll try to find another place or location where you get a good connectivity, right? So hopefully that won't be an issue, it won't arise during your test. Okay. All right. To prepare for the test, please revise from your textbook. I hope you have a textbook by now. Chapter 1, pages 4 to 18. You see, Dr. Yu even put the pages for you, right? list out the pages you need to refer to. Chapter 2, pages 42 to 55. Chapter 3, 80 to 84. Chapter 3 is on email writing. Chapter 4 is on letter writing and memo writing. Yeah. Pages 108, 112, 117, 123, 142, 147, 153, exercise 4 to 5. This exercise 4 to 5 is a homework that I gave you today, which I will go with you afterwards. We will discuss a bit on it afterwards. It's writing on using correct tone and style. Okay, so you see chapters and pages all given to you, as well as on Spectrum. Look up the exercises that you have done in week 2 regarding tone and style. You remember that? And also look up, revise through your slide cast, samples and supplementary materials. These are the handouts from week 2, 3, 6, and 7. Yeah? Concentrate specifically on weeks, the materials given out in weeks 2, where we looked at tone and style. Week 3 on medium, right? Audience, medium, purpose. Week 6 will be your memo, email writing, and week 7, today's will be your letter writing. Okay, so you revise on this. Yeah, so you should be fully prepared lah, right, for your test. You see, we have already given you the format, and afterwards we are doing some sample questions, so there will be no surprises. Don't worry, we won't suddenly shock you or surprise you suddenly on the test day. Test is not to test what you don't know. Purpose of a test is to test you on what you already know. Yeah, so if you're prepared for it, you should have no problem. Okay, and right. For section C, use the full block format and open punctuation. Yeah, that is the letter writing. Please use the full block. We talked about it just now. Not the American format shown in the textbook. Remember that. For the structure of the formal letter, follow the 5-point plan. That is if it's a bad news message. Otherwise, if it's a good news message, 4-point plan. So since 5-point plan is mentioned here, looks more likely that your letter is going to be a bad news message letter, I think. Okay, you don't need to design a proper letterhead. No need logo, no need letterhead. Just the first section, the first part of the format is your address, the writer's address, isn't it? All right. You don't need to sign the letter. Just put the word signature there. Yeah, where your signature should be. There is no word limit for the letter, as in we don't count the format and so on. But for the body of the letter, that means where your content of the letter is, where the message is, should be about 200 to 250 words. This is a guideline. Just about 1 page will do. This is a guideline to help you so that you know that you won't write too little. That means not enough details, not enough information, or over excessively write too much. No point also, right? So between 200 to 250 words. Okay, that is for the letter. And I think just now earlier on the section B is where you write memo and email. That one is between 120 to 140 words. It's a guideline for you. Yeah. Okay, any questions regarding this? Anybody? You're all fine with this? All clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All clear, then let me close this. I will close this, then we try out the test sample questions. Yeah, we try that out. Okay, let me share screen again. Test guidelines. Test sample. Yeah. Okay, these are the questions that was given to you. There's in your spectrum under announcements. So I don't know whether you have looked at it. And so this is what you will be expecting to see in your test next week. This is for section A. Yeah, for section A. Yeah. So let's discuss quickly. We discuss and and see how would you rewrite this following messages using appropriate tone and style. You may include additional details. Okay, so so let's say the first one. How would you rewrite this? Or what is wrong with this? What is wrong with this statement? What is inappropriate? Not to say wrong, but inappropriate. If you do not return the form soon, you will miss the boat and fail to register for the conference. What do you think of this style of writing? What is not appropriate here? What do you think?
Is a negative tone.
Negative, yes, exactly. If you do not return, that is concentrating on the negative. So how to make it positive? Avoid using words not and no and so on. What else besides negative? What else? If you do not
The
return.
word soon.
Soon, yes, very good. What is wrong with soon?
It's not specific.
Not precise, not specific. So what do you need to do here? Instead of saying soon. State the date lah, right? State the date, a specific date. That is where you put in. You come out and you add on the details as and when is required. Okay. And what about this? You will miss the boat. Do you need to write that? Or do you have to, is it better to drop it, this phrase? This is an example of what you call idiomatic expression. You will miss the boat is actually an expression to mean, what does it mean now, you will miss the boat?
Miss the opportunity.
Correct, yes. It is expressions that normally people, you have better command of English or people whose first language is English will use to say something. Actually, it means that you will miss the chance, you will miss the opportunity. But if you write this in your message or in your letter or in your email to somebody who is not familiar with the language, then they will get confused. Miss the boat? What boat? Or what boat ride? Are we going on the boat or what? This causes miscommunication and breakdown in communication, misunderstanding. Yeah. So avoid. That's why they say avoid idiomatic expressions like this. No need to say that. Yeah. Just drop it. Cause more confusion otherwise. Okay. You will miss the boat and fail to register for the conference. Again, what is a no-no here? Don't use negative words like this. Yeah. Okay. How can you rewrite it? Any suggestion?
Please return the form by a date to register for the conference.
Yes, very good. Excellent. If you wanted to do something, just start with a please. I mean, especially, this is actually a request, isn't it? You're asking your reader to do something. To do what? To return the form or to submit the form. Okay. So start with a please and you won't go wrong. Okay. So please submit your form. Please return your form before, give a date. And why? To register for the conference. That's it. Or in order to register for the conference. Okay? Right, good. So in this case, it is concise, it is formal, but not too formal. And of course, it is definitely positive and not negative, like in the original sense, in the original statement. Yeah? Okay, good. Let's try the next one. I am writing with reference and pursuant to your letter of complaint dated 1st November regarding a route service rendered to you. What's wrong with this? See the big words that are being used here? Reference and pursuant. These are what you call like using bombastic words lah. Drop all these. You can use simple words, use simpler words, right? No need all too many words. It's too wordy anyway. I am writing with reference and pursuant to your letter of complaint. No need all this. Okay, you are actually telling them that you are actually replying your letter, right? And don't say your letter of complaint. Just say your letter enough. Your letter dated. The date must be mentioned and don't say letter of complaint or letter of what. Just your letter, right? Keep it neutral right? Your letter dated regarding what? Or about. You can use regarding or just about. a rude service. Don't use the word rude, although the complain about the rude service, but you in replying just say regarding, be neutral, stick to neutral ground regarding the service that you received instead of rendered to you. Again, big words. So again, instead of saying I am writing with reference, a simpler way of acknowledging that you have received someone's letter. How do you say? How do you acknowledge that you have received someone's letter? Acknowledge somebody's letter. What do you say normally?
Thank you for your letter.
Correct. Just say thank you. Thank you for your letter. Yeah, no need all this. Oh, no need. Thank you for your letter. Dated 1st November. About the service that you received. And it's good also to add at what location, where was it received or when was it received. Actually, no need when or where also can, but okay, you can say it this way. Thank you for your letter dated about the service you received at our Jalan University branch. So the location is mentioned. Okay, you can also make this more specific. Or another way of saying this, you can instead of if you don't want to acknowledge the letter, you can also say another way of saying, we appreciate your feedback about the service you received at our Jalan University branch on this date. Another way of saying. Okay, so very polite, right? And even though the customer is complaining to you, you still reply in a very courteous way, positive and courteous. Okay, and no bombastic words, concise, precise, straight to the point. Okay, good. Next, your cooperation in providing some crucial and significant details would be greatly appreciated in rendering assistance to me in issuing you with a temporary student card. Again, another mouthful. What long sentences? What all these bombastic words? And the thing is, the problem is, okay, it's not going. I mean, it's going round the bush. It's not. You be more direct, straightforward. It's not direct, straightforward. What does the reader want what does the writer want the reader to do actually? Say directly lah. They want the writer wants the reader to provide, isn't it? Provide what? No need some crucial and significant. Just provide details, isn't it? But is it specific enough? What details is not mentioned here? Okay, though it used so many words, but it is not specific enough. It is not precise enough. So mention the details. Example, you can put in bracket, full name, metric number, IC number, right? And then, so how do you say? Please, you can start with please because you're asking your reader to do something. Please what? Provide. Please provide what?
Your details.
Yeah, your details, and then you can put in bracket, or you can say please provide your IC number and metric number, or just say your details, but you put in bracket IC number, metric number, faculty or full name or whatever lah. Just put a few. You have to specify. Don't just say details in general or your personal details. It is not specific enough. Specify full name, metric number, IC number, right? And then after that, how do you continue? Why is he asking for the details? Why is this person asking for the details? So that, you can say so that, clear enough, rather than in rendering assistance, so that I can do what? Issue you with a temporary student card. Exactly, so that I can issue you with a temporary student card. Okay? Something like this, please provide your detail. Example, full name, metric number, or whatever you want to put here. So that I can issue you with a temporary student card. See, isn't that nice and straight and precise and direct, right? Not booting around the bush, not using big bombastic words, right? Simple words and straightforward. Okay, that's what you mean by that. Okay, next one. Hey, I want to take a day off sometime next week. You okay with that, boss? You don't say to your boss like that, lor. You don't write to your boss even, especially when you write, or even you speak. That's not correct, right? Okay, how do you rewrite this? So, you are actually asking for what?
Holiday.
Yeah, take off a day. Normally, you if you want to take a day off, you normally say, I would like to apply for what? For a day off, or apply for leave. What do you mean by this? Sometime next week. Is that good enough? No, isn't it? That's very bad. I want to take a day off. I would like to apply for leave sometime next week. That's not showing much respect to your boss, you know. At least you tell your boss on which specific day, so give a date. Okay, and then you okay with that, boss? That's too informal, too casual. So especially in writing, some more it's even worse. You don't write like that with your boss, isn't it? So you can say, may I have your permission? You can say it in two sentences lah. Okay, so I would like to apply for leave for next Tuesday. Give a date. May I know if you would allow it, or may I have your permission? Something like that lah. May I know if you would allow it, or is that? You can also say something like, I hope that is all right with you, or is that all right with you? Or this will be better lah. May I have your permission? Okay. All right, fine. Okay, so again, it's more polite, definitely more professional and courteous, rather than in this way, and with the what do you call it, necessary details, stated. Okay, last one. OMG. What's OMG? You know what's OMG? These are all abbreviations. This looks like a unhappy customer. Oh my God, you sent my parcel to the wrong address again. How many times do you want me to tell you my house number is 13, not 30? Can you please get it right for once? Oh, this is all. This is not how you write, like a letter of complaint or email to complain, right? They're actually scolding the person. Do not scold. You still have to be. Although you have a right to complain, to lodge a complaint, right? It doesn't give you a right to be rude to the person that you're complaining to, lah, right? So this is a no-no, yeah? So be more professional, right? So how can you restate this? How can you restate this? Well, you can start by telling them that this is to inform you that my parcel has been sent to. Instead of mentioning wrong address, you just mentioned the wrong address was actually, it was sent to house number 30 lah. So you say, just to inform you that my parcel has been sent to house number 30 again. Again has to be said lah, because it's a repeat mistake, is it? So just to inform you that my parcel has been sent to house number 30 again. Okay. How many times do you want me to tell you? No, please don't say that. Just say that my house number is, you can give my house address is number 13, and then you give the address lah, right? Can you please get it right for once? Do not say that. This is very sarcastic. Okay, let's see how the answer is. This is to inform you that my parcel is sent to house number 30 again. Could you please update my address in the system? You can offer a suggestion. Please update my address in the system. Please correct my address in the system. You can say that, right? But don't say like, can you please get it right for once? And then you give your address again. It is 13 Taman University. And then end with a thank you. Yeah. So this is what you mean by rewriting in the correct style and tone. All right. Okay. All right with this. Okay, we go on to the next section. Right. Section B. Section B, there are only 2 questions, right? Identify for each of the following situations, right? Identify a suitable medium and write a 1-paragraph message of 120 to 150 words. No format, salutation, or signature required. So for section B, you don't have to worry about format or salutation or signature, right? Don't even need, that means no format means no need to write subject line. But you need to fill in this, what is the medium and the message, okay, of 120 to 150 words. So the first question is, you need to write to your superior to suggest adding another coffee machine in the pantry. So what is the medium that you would need to use to write to your superior? If you write to your superior, what kind of medium do you use?
Email.
Email, yes. Email will be better than memo, because memo, like I say, is more for your subordinates or your same level as you. You write to your superior, to your boss, although it's in the same organization, it's better to use an email, but not letter. You don't write to somebody in your same organization. And over a simple topic like this, I mean, a subject which is not confidential, highly confidential. It's just a very ordinary, safe subject to discuss. So email will do. Okay, good. Right. What about this? Write to one of your clients to decline his request to pay for his credit card. What kind of medium do you use in this case? Client. He requests to pay his credit card bill in installment, but you are declining his request. So what medium do you write to your client? Definitely, if it's the most suitable medium will be a letter, right? It's somebody outside organization. Okay. Right. Let's look at the first one again. Write to your superior to suggest adding a coffee machine. So, yeah, what kind of message is this? Is it a good news message, or what kind of approach do you use here? Definitely, it's nothing to do with bad news. So you just use the direct approach, right? The direct approach, and you use an email as the medium, right? And then you write the message. So in your direct approach, this is an example of the answer. Straight away in the introduction, you mention your purpose or your suggestion. So straight away, as this person has written, I would like to suggest that we add a new coffee machine in the future. So straight away, state your suggestion. Say why you are writing this, because I want to suggest adding a new coffee machine. Okay, so that will be your introduction. And then what will be after the introduction will be the details. What would you write in your details? If you want to suggest something, so most likely the details will be reasons. Give reasons why. Why you want a new coffee machine, which is what this person did. Give the reason, justify why you came up with this suggestion. So these are some of the ways you can write 2 or 3 reasons. The current coffee machine has been in use and it breaks down often with many new staff. An extra machine would be better. Office workers, 80 office workers, not only cut down waiting time, but also increase our productivity, blah, blah. Give 2 or 3 reasons to justify your suggestion. And then after that, you action. I hope you would consider our suggestion. Yeah, this is calling for action. Hope you consider. I hope you will let me know. Right? If you would like to discuss this further, so this is a call for action. And then this can be the close also, right? Thank you or something like that. Thank you for taking your time to read this, right? So introduction, mention the new coffee machine, details, the justification, or how will it benefit having a new coffee machine, how will it benefit the workers, the staff, right? This is how you justify your suggestion. And then offer to discuss further and just close. So it's quite straightforward, yeah. For this one. Now the second one, write to one of your clients to decline his request to pay for his credit card bill in installment. What kind of message is going to be, and what approach do you use? Definitely, this is a
Indirect.
Yeah, it's indirect approach because it's a bad news message, isn't it? Right? It's bad news message because your client requests that to pay his credit card bill installment, but you are declining. Declining means to refuse cannot, no. You cannot accept his. You cannot what do you call it? You cannot accept his request right? You cannot say yes to him so you have to decline. You have to refuse his request. So it's indirect message Direct message. So you use this approach. Yeah. So you start with a buffer. Okay. So let's look at one sample example. And of course, the best way is to use formal letter you write to a client. And this is something quite confidential because it's about payment, right? It's about something to do with finance. So use a formal letter rather than an email. Okay, so you start with the buffer. See how this buffer starts? Thank you for your letter dated 1st November about paying your credit card in installments. That can be used as a buffer. A buffer can be where you acknowledge that you have received the letter and you thank them for the letter. That's it. Very neutral, right? It doesn't say here at the beginning that you are declining or refusing his request. Neutral and also positive. It's not negative. Okay, and then come the introduction. Here he introduced by just saying that we appreciate your business and prompt payment every month. Okay, that's it lah. We understand your recent financial constraint, but the terms and conditions of Visa card do not allow bill payment by installment. Can you see here? The bad news is announced here. So these are the details, right? And this is the reason. Actually, he just gave it in one sentence, but it's good enough lah. The details is he gives the reason why we cannot allow payment installment because terms and conditions of Visa card do not allow. It is not allowed. So that's why his request has to be turned down. Okay, that's enough for details. Yeah, and then comes the action. Although you are refusing his request, so action is where you try to make some kind of compensation or make up for it lah, for this bad news. Okay, now, what does he do here? Here he offered to, nevertheless, for a long-term customer like you, we are happy to extend the payment date. Also, his compensation to this person, to his customer, is we extend your payment date to 31st December, to a few months. So we extend the payment date. So that's his compensation. Okay, this is the action that he would take, right? This should give you sufficient time to assess other financial resources. Our personal finance consultant is available to provide free financial management services. These are also some information, some suggestions. So it is still under action. Please call her or email me if you have any questions. So this is still under action, right? So it's giving you information that you can call this person for free financial management services and call her for assistance. If you have any action. So this is under action. And finally, positive closing. See how positive the closing is. Okay, thank you for choosing Unibank and allowing us to fulfill your banking needs. You see, positive closing. The closing is very positive, right? Thank you for choosing us and allowing us to fulfill your banking needs. We hope to continue serving you, continue to be able to serve you. We hope to be able to continue serving you, something like that. And with a positive closing, even though it's a bad news. Okay, so that's it lah. B will be the buffer. I will be the introduction, building the context, and then the details, state, explain the reason, and the decision. Decision is this one now, we do not allow. Give action means offer to help, offer to give help, offer to give some compensation, or to give some other suggestions, right, to make up for it lah. And then end on a positive note. The close will be end on a positive close lah. This is the positive closing. Okay. All right. And finally, section C is a situation. Is a writing letter. It's one question. This is a situation. You recently purchased a smartphone from an online store. When it arrived, it was not the color you had ordered, and some free gifts were not included. So what you need to do, write an appropriate complaint letter. So in this section, you have to write a complaint letter to the online store, and then request for another delivery of your order, including all free gifts. You will return the parcel and ask the store to reimburse you the shipping cost. So it's very clear what you need to do. Okay. So for this section, you have to use show the format, the proper letter format. The proper letter format. Unlike section B, you don't need to use the show format, just the message only. In this section, you need to come up with a full format, right? Full block with open punctuation. The full block format that we use, the sender's address, that means your address, either your name or your company name. It depends on the question. In this case, it is you are writing, so it is as complaint letter, so it's your name and your full address. The international date, the inside address, right? And then the salutation. So on the full block format you have to follow the heading. Yeah. And then this one, the body, it's just suggestion here. We're not giving you the total sample answer. Because it's a bad news letter, it's a letter of complaint, right? So you start with the buffer. Start with the buffer. Hold on. Can you hear? Oh, sorry. Can you see my? Oh. Wait, let me stop sharing. I'll start again. Just now we're talking about the test, yeah? Test sample questions. Right. We were talking about this, yeah? Let me finish off with this. Yeah. Okay. Right. So start with the buffer. It's a complaint letter, but you still start with the buffer. Thank you for your prompt delivery of my order. And then under the introduction, then you mention what you have received, right? And then under details, then you mention that what you have received is not what you wanted, what you ordered for. Give the reason, state the problem that you encounter, and then action. Always mention action, especially in letter of complaint. Always state what you want them to do. Please deliver the unit with the right color or with the free gifts and so on, and what you want them to do, right? And finally, close, positive close. Okay, so this is section C, all right. So with this, we finish our sample questions, test sample questions. Are you here? Are you still with me? You are?
Yeah, we are here.
Yes.
All right, good. Because I've not finished yet. Just one more last part, which I need to cover with you because it covers your question next week. That is the homework that we have given you today in under week 7. But only question 4 and 5. I will go back to my slide again. We look at question 4 and 5 given to you today as a homework. Let me share screen again. Sorry. Wait, let me leave and come back in again because I will. Yeah, hi again. I'm back. You can hear me, right? Let me try to
Yes.
get the slide again. Right. Okay. Right. Are you on the same page with me? Okay. Just a little bit more before we finish. I need to go over this with you, question 4 and 5 of today's homework, because it covers the test question about rewriting in using appropriate style and tone, right? So let's go over this question. There are only 2 questions, 4 and 5, but we go over one by one. This one, rewrite the following sentences to make them more personal. So again, this is what it means is rewriting them using the appropriate style and tone. So I will put it in this form, in the form of a table. Okay, rewrite the following sentences to make them more personal. And in this case, this is very impersonal. Too impersonal, so it's not good writing. Okay, so can you correct this? Can you give me a suggestion? How can you improve this statement? A, it becomes incumbent upon this office to cancel order 2394. Okay, so this is now sometimes when it's too formal and too impersonal, it's not good writing also, like it's not appropriate. How can you rewrite this in a more friendlier tone, more personal tone style? For example, words like incumbent, again, big word, try to not to use these big words, replace it with something simpler, right? Common words that people can understand. And sometimes people may read and don't understand what is incumbent upon this to cancel order. What is he trying to say? I don't understand, right? So that means no point in it if you write something, although you use big words to show off the English, but the person who read it does not understand. Yeah? So how can you rewrite this message? What is he trying to say here actually? Anybody wants to try? Rewrite it, make it simpler, say it in simpler words. What do you think? Anybody? Anyway, it becomes incumbent upon this office to cancel order 2394. Who is cancelling the order? Who is cancelling the order? The office, isn't it? That means the person who is writing it, right? So instead of saying this office, you just say we . We what? We would like to inform you, or we would like to we are going to
Cancel order.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
we are sorry, we have to cancel your order. That's exactly what it means. That's all. Of course, I mean, you can add, we are sorry, we apologize, we have to cancel your order. That's exactly what it means here. But you see how confusing when you write it this way? Yeah, and how clear it is when you write it this way? Yeah, direct, use simple words. Okay, right, good. Another one. Management has suggested the curtailment of parking privileges. Again, big bombastic words like curtailment. Don't use these words, right? It causes confusion. Even you and I read also something, oh, what is he trying to say here? How can you rewrite this in more simple, straightforward, in appropriate tone and style? Don't say management because actually this is a message by the management. Normally they will write management at the end. It's the management who is writing this message. If the management is writing this message, don't say management is doing this. Just say we . We what? We suggest what? What is curtailment? Do you know?
Restrict.
Yeah, restrict or limit, right? Reduce, right? So we suggest restricting parking privilege, or restrict also quite a big word, simpler than that. Limiting or cutting down, reducing parking privileges. So we suggest cutting down on parking privileges. That's it, right? Clear, straightforward. Yeah, simple word, cut down, not curtailment and so on, right? Okay, next. All users of hydroplex desist from ordering replacement valves during the period of December 20th to 30th. Again, bombastic word, desist from ordering replacement. Actually, what is he trying to do? What is he trying to say here? Or we advise, or all users of hydroplex are advised to order or not to order during this period. Desist means don't order, isn't it? Do not order replacement valve during this period, isn't it? So how do you say it? Simpler English? Or you can tell them, right, instead of saying don't order, desist means do not order do not place order for replacement valve during this period. Say in the positive. Again, try to say in the positive, more direct way. So when can they order actually? If they cannot order during this period, when can they place the order? You tell them when they can order. So users of hydroplex are advised to order replacement valve when?
Before 20 December and after 30 December.
Correct, yes. Before, you can order before or after. Before 20th, we advise all users of hydroplex place orders for replacement valve before 20th or after 30th. Some may say why this one is more like using more words rather than this. But if you look at the two, you compare the two, I think the same number of words, but which is more direct. More direct. This is telling them, please do not order during 20th and 30th. This tell them, order before 20th or after 30th. I think this is clearer, isn't it? This is more direct when they can order, right? So that's why I say, say something straightforward and direct, right? Rather than say it this way. Okay, next one. The request for a new catalog has been honored. It will be shipped to the same address soon. Again, no need to use honored, right? That means your customer is requesting for a new catalog. So instead of saying your request has been honored, just say when somebody requests for something for your catalog, just say what? When you acknowledge the request, when you acknowledge something, you just say what?
Accepted.
What? Accepted. Okay, your request for a new catalog has been accepted. Okay, or even more simpler than that. Thank you, thank you. When you say thank you means I have accepted your request now. I have received your request now. Okay, so thank you for your request for a new catalog, and it will be sent to you. No need to ship or send to you lah. No need same address lah. Just send to you lah. Instead of soon, again give a specific date lah. Yeah. So thank you for your request for the new catalog, which will be sent to you by 18 December. Okay, another one. Perseverance and attention to detail have made this writer important to company in-house work. Another roundabout way using, and especially it's very confusing, is because actually what this person is saying, that he's recommending a person. He said, perseverance, attention, detail have made this writer, a particular person, important to company, to their own, to their in-house work. So he's recommending this writer. Don't say this writer, give the person a name. He's trying to say that this person is important to our in-house work, right? And the reason being, why? Because of his character traits. He has perseverance and he has attention to detail. He gives attention to detail. Yeah. So if that's the case, what should come in front of the sentence is the person. Now you want to highlight the person, isn't it? So say the person first. Who is the person that you're recommending, right? So give him a name, like say John. So you say John, put him in front of the sentence, not at the end of the sentence. John is important to our in-house work. And then what else do you add? Why are you recommending him? John is important to our in-house work. Then now you give the reason. Why is he important? Why is he useful? Because, isn't it? Because of what? This one you have to use, although it's a big word, but it's okay. I mean, you're talking about his character trait. Because of his
perseverance and attention to detail.
Correct. Because of his perseverance and attention to detail. You see, the reason you give at the end of the sentence, the person that you're highlighting, put it in front of the sentence. Okay? Because you are actually, you're writing here, you're actually recommending the person. So put the person's name in front, John, Peter, or whatever. He's important to our in-house work. Why? Because of his perseverance and attention. Right? The reason you give at the back. The important point you want to stress here is saying John is important. This person is good for us, is important to us. Why you put it at the end? Not put the why in front and then put the person behind. So when you read it, this is actually again a passive voice. Right? This is saying in the active voice. Okay. All right. Another one. The Director of Nurses hereby notifies staff that a general meeting will be held on Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Sharp. Attendance is mandatory. Again, too wordy, too many words, not necessary. No need to say the Director of Nurses hereby notify. Actually, this message comes from the Director of Nurses. So you just no need to mention this, right? Who is giving the message, because as normally it will write at the end here, Director of Nurse or the person's name, the boss name, and so on. So what is important is the message. What is the message? Take the message, go straight to the message immediately. No need to notify staff. This message is to the staff, so you just mention the message. So what is the message?
Must
What are you
attend
having?
the meeting.
To?
Must attend the meeting on Monday afternoon at 3 p.m.
Correct. Yes. Please attend the meeting, because they are asked to attend a general meeting held when on Monday. Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. No need afternoon because 3 p.m. is mentioned. On Monday, but Monday alone is not clear enough. You have to be specified. Which Monday? Next Monday? 2 Mondays from now? Monday? Give the date. Which date? Which Monday? Okay. And since the attendance is mandatory, isn't it? Mandatory? What means mandatory? Mandatory means what?
Compulsory.
And
Compulsory, yes, compulsory. Attendance is compulsory, isn't it? So instead of adding your attendance is compulsory, you just said, rewrite again. Please attend a compulsory general meeting on Monday, give the date, at 3 p.m. Enough. Please attend a compulsory general meeting on Monday, 7 December at 3 p.m. Enough. No need afternoon, no need sharp. PM is already afternoon. Understood lah. It has 3 p.m. is 3 p.m. lah. No need sharp, no need whatever. And then it's compulsory, so it's an important meeting lah. Okay. All right. Reports will be filed by appropriate personnel no later than the schedule plans allow. Again, a very roundabout, bombastic way of saying something that's very straightforward. Make it straightforward. This is not straightforward. Instead of saying reports will be filed by appropriate personnel, you're actually telling whoever is responsible, that's why appropriate personnel. So no need to mention this. Who is filing it? No need, because you are actually telling them, those who are responsible, tell them the message, what they need them to do. Please, you can start with the please again, because it's asking them to do something. Do what? Please? Please? Please do what with the report?
The reports.
File. File means, submit.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
File your reports. Okay lah, just no later than the schedule. Just they say according to the schedule plan lah, or something like that. But even report also be specific. Which report? Sales report, research report, what report, right? So state that also. Monthly report, attendance report, whatever lah. Okay. So please file your sales report according to the schedule plan. Enough. Yeah. Okay. Finally, one more, last one. Question 5 is also the same, right? Page 153 in your textbook. The following sentences are discourteous, boastful, excessively humble. Too humble also is not good writing. I'll show you some example. Or vague or lacking the you attitude. Rewrite them to correct those mistakes. Okay, let me put it down here. Yeah, let's go through again. Rewrite again in the right tone, in the right style, right? A. How do you rewrite this, or what's wrong with it? Something is obviously wrong in your head office. They have once more sent me the wrong model number. Can they ever get things straight? So again, this is like the complaint just now, right? The customer is angry, right? So she's writing a complaint, but this is not the right way to write lah, right? You have every right as a customer to be angry and to lodge a complaint, but you have no right to be rude, right? Do not be rude like this. Do not be sarcastic, right? Something is obviously wrong in your head office. Don't write like that, law, right? Just state the problem. What is it? They have once more sent me the wrong model number. So tell them what they want to do. What you want them to do. What do you want them to do actually?
Could you please send me the correct model number?
Yes, please send me the correct model, or please resend the correct model. Resend means you have sent the wrong one. Please send it again, but send the correct one. Yeah, and don't say things like, "Can you ever get things straight?" No lah, you can just end with the thank you or something like that lah. Yeah. So please recheck and resend the correct model number to me. You can add this recheck again. This is like asking them, please check and please send the correct model number. Okay, good. Next one. My instructor wants me to do a term paper on safety regulations at the plant. Since you are the manager of a small plant means a factory, send me all the information I need at once. My grade depends heavily on this. This looks like a student, because it's talking about grade and term paper, right? Who is writing to a manager of a factory and asking for information on safety regulations, right? So how do you rewrite this? How do you write this? You're requesting for something, you're requesting for information on safety regulations. So you can start it. I would like to request for information about safety regulations at your plant, and for whom, for what reason, for my term paper. Okay, and then okay, let's look at it. Okay, this is a better way of saying I would like to request for information on safety regulations from your plant. It's writing to the manager. For what? For my term paper. And don't stop there. Give a title to your term paper, my term paper, or for my research paper, or for my project paper, and title. Give importance of safety regulations, something like that. Yeah, then this is much better than putting this way, in a very courteous and polite way, rather than just send me all the information I need at once. Oh, this is very bad. You're writing to a manager, you're only a student. Even then also, you're not student or not students, so no right you're requesting information. So this is a better way of saying I would like to request, or please send me information on safety regulations for my term paper. Entitled. Okay, it is apparent that you are in business to rip off the public. What is the meaning of rip off? Anybody? You know the meaning of rip off? This one is like maybe a customer writing to a businessman, and again, you can see that it is accusing the businessman that it's something that he's not happy. I mean, the customer is not happy. It is clear, it is apparent, it is clear that you are in business to rip off the public. What is rip off? Do you know? What is rip off? Another word for rip off? Anybody?
Tear apart.
To what?
Tear apart.
No, it's not to tear apart. To rip off a piece of paper, yes, rip off. But this one, you say to rip off your customer, to rip off the people. It's actually mean to... Anyone? This is where you have double meaning.
Rob.
To?
Rob.
To?
To rob.
Rob, not so much to rob. In a certain sense, yeah, to rob, to cheat. It means to cheat the public. Yeah, in a certain sense, to rob, right? To cheat the public, it's like dishonest Is usually when you say to rip off means when you charge people such a high price, when you sell your service, or you charge people, or you ask people to pay such an extremely high fees for something, it is excessively, people have to pay so much for it. So it means to cheat the public. So actually what it says here, it is clear that you are in business to cheat the public. So instead of saying it this way, a better way of saying is, what would be a better way of saying? You're actually complaining about his prices, This is a way of saying that your prices are much too high, right? But the better way of saying is, please revise your prices. Please review your prices. Please review your fees. Please review your charges. So it's a very polite way of saying review, look at it, check again, and change your prices. Your prices are too high. Actually, this is what they're saying, right? Instead of saying it this way. Okay? All right, good. I was wondering, this one, example D, is an example of what you mean by excessively humble. if you, of course, being boastful is a no-no, but too humble also is not effectively a writing. Look at this, how it's written. I was wondering if you could possibly see your way to sending me the local chapter president's name and address, if you have the time, that is. You see, this is requesting for information, but in too humble way. If you are too humble, most likely the person will say, if I have the time, okay, I have no time, so I'm not sending, So most of the time, the response will be like this. So if you want people to respond to you, to act on your request, so you have to be also more, assertive right, in your writing. So this is not assertive, it's too humble, and the people may even ignore totally what you have asked, ignore you right? So how can you rewrite this? Don't waste your words of I was wondering if you could possibly see your way to sending me. Straight away ask for what you want to ask.
Could you please send me the local chapter president's name and address?
Enough. Yes, that's it. Full stop. Yes. Please send me the local chapter president's name and address. I mean, you can add a thank you after that. Thank you. Yeah, good enough, isn't it? Clear, straightforward. And then you say what you want, you are clear with what you want. Here it shows that you're not too clear what you want, or whether you want it or you need it or not. Here it shows very clearly you need that, you want it, that, you want him to send you, and thank you. Okay? All right, and finally, I have waited for my confirmation for 2 weeks now. Do you expect me to wait forever, or can I get some action? Again, maybe an unhappy customer, right? And also being very sarcastic, right? Do you expect me to wait forever? No need to be sarcastic and that is very rude lah. Okay, so how can you rewrite this? Again, state your request clearly and straightforward. Please what? You're waiting for confirmation, isn't it? Right? So you can please let me know.
When can I get my confirmation? Confirmation. Yeah.
Okay, please let me know when I can get my confirmation, right? Please let me know the status of my confirmation. Yeah, something like that lah, right? Straightforward. No need to be rude, no need to be sarcastic, no need to use too many words, no need to beat around the bush. Go straight and direct to the point. Okay, that's it. No, I won't go to this. These are some of the questions in your homework, writing letter. You can do it in your own time. So I will stop here already, and that's it for today lah. That's it, right? So once again, all of you, yeah. Any questions? Any questions? So you clear on what you need to do next week? Yeah, remember. So next week is your test. Come at the usual time, and we won't have class, but you do your test during the class time. Okay. Go to your class forum, and the link will be open exactly at 4 p.m. Are you okay? Fine? All good?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right. With that, then okay lah. So we'll call it a day, and I'll stop now. So all the best for your test next week. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah. See you.
Thank you, madam.